All right, Shalom. Before I begin this lesson, I want to give all honor, praise, and glory unto Yahweh Bahasham, Yahushai Bahasham, Racha Kodash, for giving me the spirit to do this lesson. Lord willing, it's edifying to the elect of Israel. Double honors to the elders and the apostles, great millstone, who rule well, who I learned this truth from, the leaders of all Israel in these end times, showing us the correct way to salvation. Shalom to you, brothers on the highways and hedges, giving up your body as a living sacrifice, doing this, teaching this gospel in all sincerity and in truth. Shalom to you, brothers. Shalom to you, Akwaf, meaning you Israelite sisters that may be watching. And shalom to you, Israelites scattered abroad that may look like these other nations, but your seed line goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, making you a Hebrew Israelite, regardless of your color or your race, because, or well, your appearance, should I say, because this thing ain't about color. It's about the chosen seed line whose salvation is for. All right. So you see the title of the lesson, it says in the news, in the news, and prophecy. You know, a lot is happening, man. So, I just thought I'd title it that because it's going to be a random lesson, just a spontaneous one because I got to rush off to the plantation. So this ain't going to be a long one, no more than an hour tops. But I want to show you a few videos and show you the latest as to what I've seen that's going on. And, we're going to link it up with Bible prophecy, man, and show you, I'm going to show you exactly, where the Bible speaks of these events because it's all happening, it's all playing out just as the Lord wrote it in the Bible, man. And a lot of people don't believe in the Bible because they're fools. It's very evident the time we're living in, right? And let me just share my screen. Let's start with Revelations chapter 11 and 14. It says, the second woe is past. Keep in mind the word woe represents death and destruction. And we know the second woe is talking about the Second World War, a time of death and destruction. That's past. The Second World War is past. It says, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. The third woe is the final woe, the final world war. Okay, so we're approaching, if not already in, the beginning stages of the Third World War. And this war is going to be the war to end all wars. Okay, now I want to jump here to Matthew chapter 24, and we're going to speak on this parable here, starting at verse 32, right? Matthew 24 and 32, it says, now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, which, right now we're entering into the time of spring. So this is basically what it's saying, when you see the trees start budding, you see the leaves start coming through, right? You feel the weather changing. It says, ye know that summer is nigh. So summer is near. You know that summer's coming. You get that, that change of season. It's been a long, wet winter, gloomy winter, and you start to see the sun come out, days are lasting longer. You get that feeling of excitement because the summer's coming, man. Right? So it says in verse 33, it says, so likewise ye, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doors. So when you see these prophecies happening as the Bible wrote, as the Bible explained, when you see these things like wars, rumors of wars, famines, uproars of the people, earthquakes in diverse places, many other prophecies, when you see them gathering together for war, you know that it says it is near, even at the doors. Now, the it's speaking of is the day of the Lord, right? Which is the time when the Redeemer is coming to redeem the elect of Israel, the lost sheep of the house of Israel, the chosen. Okay, he's gonna come and redeem his elect from the earth, right? And the Redeemer is Yahushai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus, and he's coming during this Third World War. So we know that it's close, even at the doors, right? Verse 34, Matthew 24 and 34, it says, verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass until all these things be fulfilled. So this generation we're living in is the generation to see the return of the Messiah, man. The return of the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Okay? And he's coming to take down all these nations. And what you're seeing is these nations getting ready to be slaughtered. This is why they're all gathering in the Middle East right now. So Matthew 24 and 35, it says, heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. Now, somebody without understanding would read this and think that the earth is just going to blow up or something, right? Right? But why why would why would we need the words of the Lord if the earth ain't here? If we're not living, we all gone extinct. You got to read these scriptures with understanding. When it says heaven and earth shall pass, it means the heaven being the rulership of Esau, Edom is going to pass, this current rulership, right? Esau's heaven. And the earth is going to melt with fervent heat. The elements are going to melt with fervent heat. So the works that are in this earth, the rulership and the works, the internet, the roads, the airports, everything you could think of in the society, McDonald's, all of that gone. Okay. GMO crops, chemtrails, all of that's going to pass away, but the Lord's words will never pass away. Okay. I think that's it on that. Oh, Matthew 24 and 36, it says, but of that day and hour knoweth no man. So no one knows the day that the Lord is coming. You can't make predictions and throw out dates and say, okay, I believe it's going to be on this date, because you be going off, man. You can have a guess, but don't be pushing that out as facts or whatever. But your guess is more than likely going to be wrong. It says, of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. So only Yahweh knows, not even Yahweh Shai knows the date. But we know that the time is close. It says in Matthew 24 and 37, but as the days of Noah were, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be, right? Total chaos, total wickedness. And that's exactly what we're living in now. The Lord is about to hit that reset button again. Okay. First time the world was flooded, the first death, it was by water. That was the cleansing agent. This time it's going to be by fire. Okay. Which is coming in the form of thermonuclear weapons that the Lord had them create for the ultimate day of the Lord, the great and terrible day, right? Says Matthew 24 and 38, for as the days of Noah were, no, for as the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark. Now, back then it was a physical ark. This time it's a spiritual ark, and the ark is the prophets. You have to cleave to the words of the prophets and believe in the words of the Lord coming through the prophets in order to be able to get on that spiritual ark this time. Okay, so you're not going to mount up on a physical ark. Now, there will come a physical ark in the form of a chariot, a fathership, which the world calls UFOs, which the Bible calls the chariots of the Lord. That will be the actual ark on the day of the Lord. But the spiritual ark, if you want to get onto that ark, you got to be among the congregation of the living in these last days, man. Let me run that back. So it says, for as the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark. So everybody was just willy-nilly going on about their life, acting like everything's sweet, man. Like people do today, because they're heavily propagandized and their mind ain't right. They ain't in the right frame of mind to adjust to the times they're living in. These people are just continuing to go to work, go home, and trying to keep some they want to stay in that little bubble they're living in, man. They're not snapping out of it and coming into reality, but they want to call people like us crazy that are bringing out these prophecies that sound so far-fetched to these people, but they're going to witness it with their own eyes, right? It says, and knew not until the flood came. So they were just living their lives, eating, drinking, marrying, and giving in marriage, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be, because he's going to come, but he's going to sneak upon us as a thief in the night, man. Okay, now I want to show you, just check. All right, we good. Just make sure that no one's telling me they can't hear me or something. hate when that happens, right? So let me just quickly bring out some videos, man, because there's a lot going on, and I don't know if I'm gonna have time to really bring all this out. Now, America done bit off more than it can chew. As a matter of fact, let's start with this one. China is about to invade Taiwan. Check this out.
China is about to invade Taiwan. I want to make this clear. This is a prediction analysis based on historical context. The United States is bogged down in Iran right now. It cannot respond to a major conflict.
Yeah, Esau got a lot on his plate. He ain't got time to be dealing with Taiwan right now. Slovakia. So this is a perfect opportunity for China to invade Taiwan because they've been itching to do that for so long because they have certain minerals and resources that they need to develop those microchips, if I'm not mistaken, right? And America wants that. They need that in order to, help them stay in power. Okay, so there's tension going on in that area with military drills. China doing military drills around Taiwan, and this is part of the wars and rumors of wars that were spoken about in the book of Matthew. We'll bring that out in just a second.
A different place in the world right now. This opportunity will not be at China's feet for another generation. In China's best interest for Iran to bog down as much of the United States as possible. So look for arms sales from China to Iran. This would fit into place like a key because all of Trump's previous moves was based on intelligence that China was about to invade Taiwan. If China invades Taiwan, that will be a multi-regional, multipolar war.
Yeah, World War III, the third woe. That's what it's gonna bring, and it will happen.
The very definition of a world war. I was right about Venezuela, and I was right about Iran. Am I right about Taiwan? We're gonna find out soon, I think. So drop a follow on TikTok, subscribe on Instagram, subscribe on YouTube. Love you guys. Talk to you later.
We don't love you, Esau. But anyway, let me bring out another preset. Let's jump to Matthew chapter 24, starting at verse 3. It says, "As he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him," right, Yahushua, privately, saying, "Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world?" That's the question everyone wants to know. Everybody's heard that the Lord is coming back. You've got Trump saying that this is a holy war, that this is the war of Armageddon and the return of Jesus, he says, which we know to be Yahushua. Okay, these people just don't have understanding. But I want to speak briefly on that. Partly I believe that they're doing that strategically, right? Because they know a lot of atheists, a lot of people are against this war, right? And if they make it look like, oh, it's because we're doing it because of the Bible, man, it's gonna make people hate the Bible tenfold more times than they already do. All these atheists and these fools out there, right? They're gonna say, "See, it's religion. Religion is the problem. See?" You know what I mean? Because these people just want peace. They want their comfortability. They want the world to go back to normal. And if Trump's saying, "Oh, this is because we're doing this because we want to usher in the time of Jesus, the return of Jesus," as they say, right? Then people are gonna say, "Oh, I'm fed up of that book." The world would be better without that book, right? Because they're fools. They don't understand. But he's right to a certain extent. This is the return of the Lord. This is the battle of Armageddon. They just don't have the correct understanding when it comes to the name of the Lord and the fact that there ain't gonna be no rapture, ain't gonna be no antichrist coming with one eye. you know. So that's my 2 cents on that whole situation. Anyway, right back to this. Matthew 24 and 3. It says, "As he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world?" So they're inquiring when the end of the world is, just like people are today, man. Everyone wants to know when you know when the Lord's coming, right? And Yahushua answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. It says, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am the anointed, and shall see got many false prophets in these end times, saying that they're teaching the word of the Lord. You know, you got Christianity, you know, you got loads of Hebrew Israelite camps that are teaching lies mixed with truth, which is dangerous, so leading you astray. You gotta have the whole truth, nothing but the truth, the 100% truth, which comes through the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and the ones that are teaching the same correct doctrine, right? Matthew 24:6, it says, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. And what did we hear about in that video? That guy was saying that he believes that Taiwan is gonna, China is gonna invade Taiwan, right? So that's what we're, you know, and you got Pakistan versus Pakistan versus was it Iraq? I forget, but they're fighting, right? And then you got you know, you got Israel and America fighting Iran. You got the conflict with Venezuela that just happened. You got them talking about taking Greenland, which I don't know what happened to that. That's like on the back burner. But you know, this wars and rumors of wars. That's the time we're living in. Just like Yahushua said in the book that they love to hate, right? It says, "And ye shall hear wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled." So don't get alarmed just yet, because there's a lot more prophecy. Well, a few more prophecies that need to take place. All right, the end ain't yet. These things are the beginning of sorrows. It says, "For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." It says, "For nation shall rise against nation." That's what we're seeing. "And kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places." Now, Cuba is experiencing blackouts. Let me show you that quick clip. And this is going to lead to famine, all right? And as well as other things from this war, it's going to lead to famine. So the Bible is right, 100%, every time. Check this out. It says, millions of people plunged into darkness in Cuba with fuel shortages worsened by pressure from the US. So the hammer of the whole earth, America, aka Babylon the Great, ruled by the nation of Edom, are taking peace from the world, man. They're causing all types of problems. They're the problem in the world. And the small hats, them fake JEWs, right? They're causing mischief, too much problems. And this is why they got to go. And the Lord is getting ready to intervene. Okay. So yeah, as you see, most of the country is currently without power. I believe this is still happening. I haven't checked the latest as of today, but this video clip was from a few days ago. But this, you know, these type of events are going to be common in the world. Cyber attacks, and this is coming to a city near you. Okay, you best believe that there will be blackouts and things of that sort in places like America and the UK. Okay, because this war is going to have all kinds of reactions that it's going to cause, man. It says, for nation, Matthew 24:7, it says, for nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences, which is diseases, and earthquakes in diverse places. There's rumored that there was a 4.5, I believe it was, on the Richter scale in Iran the other day, and people believe that it was underground nuclear testing, what they were doing. And I wouldn't put it past them, okay? I wouldn't put it past them, because, you know, Iran is a lot more clever than people think. Let's show you another event that might bring about famine, which famine isn't just food shortages. It's also goes into the price of goods going sky high, inflation, which this particular event right here is causing it's going to cause prices to go sky high. You got the Suez Canal, and now you got a hole in the sky. Okay, check this out, and it's not a hole in the sky such as the ozone layer or whatever, the firmament. It ain't that. It's just talking about, well, you'll see. Check this out.
The US-Iran war has now created a giant hole in the sky, and we are gonna pay the price, literally. You see, if you open flight radar today, you'll see something quite astonishing. A giant hole where one of the world's busiest aviation crossroads used to be. Several countries have now entirely closed their airspaces, causing thousands of cancellations globally, major disruption at airports, stranding thousands of tourists across the Middle East, and crucially, sharply increasing costs for airlines who are now forced to take longer, more congested, fuel-consuming routes. And I wonder who's going to be paying the price for that one. But it's not just a hole in the sky creating a hole in your pocket. There's also now a hole in the ocean too, because similar to the airspace, there's now a giant gap in the world's busiest oil shipping lane. Not only is a staggering 20% of the world's oil and gas shipped through the Strait of Hormuz, but also 34% of global fertilizer, large amounts of methanol, pharmaceuticals, etc. And yesterday, not only did Iran close the lane, they actually vowed to attack any ships trying to pass. As a result, the price of oil and gas has sharply risen and will continue to have wide rippling effects as long as these holes exist. I mean, some experts are predicting that oil could reach $120 per barrel for the first time in years. So the most important question is, how long? Well, Trump revealed for the first time last night that the US military expected the war to last 4 to 5 weeks. But he did leave the door open, saying,
but whatever the time is, it's okay, whatever it takes.
I mean, most analysts predicted that the war in Ukraine would be over in a matter of weeks. Yet 4 years later, they're still fighting. I mean, the World Cup is only 4 months away. Will Iran be participating if they're at war with the host nation? You see, Trump said,
we're doing this not for now, we're doing this for the future.
But right now, the future is looking pretty damn expensive.
Yeah, Esau has no future, but he's scrambling, trying to save his future, trying to save his hold on to his birthright, or trying to get the birthright back, should I say? Trying to hold on to his, his rulership. But it's over, But as you saw in that video, Iran has the upper hand, man. Iran is not the PUSSY that America made them out to be, and they thought this was going to be a quick war or whatever. No, this war is going to last until the return of the Lord. This is what Trump don't understand, because the Lord is in control of all of this. The Lord is the one that is making this happen, right? Let's get back to these precepts. So there's going to be famines, pestilences, earthquakes in diverse places, which is what we're seeing. This is biblical prophecy. All these are the beginning of sorrows. We'll leave that there, right? Let's go to, actually, let's see what clips I've got quick. Yeah. So, yeah, let's bring out a clip or two, because like I said, Iran has the upper hand. They control this Suez Canal, the Straits of Hormuz, right? They control that, and they've blocked it off temporarily. Well, could be permanently. Who knows? We'll see. But that's going to have a major impact on the global economy, as well as that hole in the sky that I just showed you, because now airplanes are having to take longer routes around. And he said, guess who's going to have to pay the price? And he said, you. Soldier boy voice, you. So yeah, we're gonna have to foot the bill. So price of things are gonna getting ready to go up. Petrol, may not go up drastically just yet. We're gonna see, but brace yourself, because anything could happen. Let's show you that Iran has no fear. This one's called. Just a quick clip, because Iran is more clever and strategic than America had anticipated, going around bullying everyone. Hey, you can't just bully Iran like that. Okay, Iran is gonna gonna strike back. Like the wild boars of the wood. You can't tame an animal like that, man. Anyway, check this out.
Are you afraid of a U.S. invasion in your country?
No, we are waiting for them.
You are waiting for the U.S. military to invade, the ground troops?
Yes, because we are confident that we can confront them, and that would be a big disaster for them.
See, did he look like he was afraid? Did he look like he had any fear in his eyes? He said he's waiting for America to invade. He's welcoming it. He's welcoming it because they got something up their sleeve, man. Let's show you another incident that very strategic, very clever, man. Okay, they got the Iron Dome in Israel, right? And they brag about, Esau in his pride. They boast about how magnificent this technology is, right? No missile can hit us and this and that. They're getting pummeled right now, man. Okay, because they underestimated Iran. Iran is, in fact, I'll show you exactly what's happening. Check this out, man.
Iran had a new surprise against the Iron Dome. Their ballistic missiles were now equipped with cluster munitions. When the missile is traveling downwards, it splits up and releases about 20 little bomblets.
And this is the type of vision that John the Revelator saw, man. When he was locked up in the Isle of Patmos, he saw that vision of the end times, and he said that it looked like figs falling from a fig tree. And there's scriptures talking about the stars of heaven fell to the earth. It wasn't literal stars. This is what he was seeing. He hadn't seen nothing like that before in his time. So he's describing it as stars falling to the earth. Lord willing, I might grab that in a minute. Anyway, let's play this.
All over a 5-mile radius. Each bomblet has about 5 pounds of explosives, which is each like the power of an artillery shell. They cause a lot of damage. These cluster munitions are strapped to the Fatah 2 ballistic missiles, which can hit up to 11,000 miles per hour. That's 3 miles per second. And that's fast enough to travel the whole length of the entire United States of America in about 15 minutes. The war rages on, but Iran is not defenseless.
Right. Let's turn to so Iran is, they were underestimated, man. They got cluster bombs that's basically overwhelming that Iron Dome. And what is there no more wisdom in teaming? How did they not think of this? Like, did you thought you were just going to attack Iran, thinking that they ain't advanced enough to have something that's going to overwhelm your magnificent Iron Dome? F around and find out, right? Right, so this is Revelation 6 starting at 3. It says, and when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, come and see. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was, hold on, that's not it. It's 13. Salakia, let me jump down. There we go. Right, it says in Revelation 6 starting at 12, it says, and I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became as black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. Right, so the great earthquake is going to be caused by the nuclear missiles that are going to be, because the Bible says that it's going to shake the earth to the point where the earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard. That's the earthquake is talking about, okay? And it's going to come by the nuclear missiles when America gets turned into the lake of fire, when America gets destroyed from coast to coast. And when, the elect are looking down on America from the chariots, it's going to appear as a lake of fire. That's the lake of fire that the Bible's talking about. Because hell can't be cast into the lake of fire, if the lake of fire was in hell. The Bible says death and hell shall be cast into the lake of fire. Make it make sense. The math ain't mathing, right? So anyway, and it says the sun became black as sackcloth of hair. That's from the mushroom clouds and the debris and the smoke, you know, and it's gonna and the fallout and stuff. It's gonna totally block out the sun. It says, and the moon became as blood, you know, going into, you know, blood moons that we have. And it says, and the stars of heaven, this is the point I wanted to get at, verse 13, Revelation 6 and 13, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. So you picture like them cluster missiles that come down, and now it's said that, you know, Russia's Satan II missile that they have, right? The nuclear missile called Satan II, right? Apparently, that's the warhead on that splits into 12, if I'm not mistaken. All right, and you know, basically, that's going to overwhelm any. It's a very clever strategic move to overwhelm any missile defense systems that, you know, their ops have, right? And it's, you know, when it splits up into 12 or whatever, so be it, however many number, it looks like a cluster of missiles coming down, which is what John the Revelator saw in this vision here. That's why it says, and the stars of heaven fell to the earth, which is talking about the missiles that are splitting up into cluster bombs or whatever, right? It says, as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind, and the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together. That's talking about the mushroom clouds. Okay, if you've ever seen a nuclear bomb test and you see the mushroom cloud, this is what John the Revelator was sawing. The heaven rolled together like a scroll, man. It says, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. Because like I said, it's going to be a worldwide earthquake, man. The world is going to reel to and fro like a drunkard. There's many things that are going to play out on that day, okay? Because that's going to wake up Leviathan too. He's coming up. It says, and the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. Because the earth is going to change form on to bring in the kingdom of heaven. You're not going to have the kingdom of heaven and you know, the country of England looks the same and America's the same. And no, the earth, just like during the flood, you had, well, before that it was called Pangea, if I'm not mistaken, where the continents were closer together. And then the flood brought about change of landscapes, you know. And then this earthquake that's going to come is going to change the landscape of the earth again, okay? But this time it's going to be the final time, and this is going to be the kingdom of heaven. The earth is going to look a whole lot different, man, than what you see today, the maps, right? Because every island is going to be moved out of their places, man. And England is a small island, really. And don't expect England to be looking the same after this nuclear holocaust, man. Because England more than likely will get caught up with nukes too, because, you know, they possess nukes. And they're going to be shooting their nukes at America. You know, the Bible says, you know, spare no arrows, all ye that bend the bow. They're all going to fire at America, man. Like this troublemaker got to go. This is Joel. Actually, before I go there, let's see what else I got. Because there's a whole lot of things showing you that Iran has no fear. Check this out. This video right here.
This video is so embarrassing to Israel. They released it thinking they blew up an Iranian helicopter. But instead, they wasted $1 million bomb on a painting. Look at the rotors. They don't even move. It's still there. It gets even better. How about these strikes on the fighter jets? They don't even move. Watch this one right here. Look at the front. It just stays intact. They're painted on the ground. The Israelis and Americans are dropping $1 million bombs on paintings.
Yeah, that paint probably cost them about $20 or something. So that's very clever and strategic. They painted aircraft on the concrete so that from above it looks like actual aircraft. and they're wasting bombs that cost like $1 million on paintings that cost like $20, man. So, Iran is very clever and strategic because they're wasting, not only the Iron Dome missiles, their defense missiles, those cost a lot of money, and they're sending their cheapest drones in there to overwhelm, to basically make this war very expensive for them. And America trying to talk about peace talks and all that, and Israel don't want no, I mean Iran don't want no peace. They're like, nah, you in this fight now, you started it. Let's see how tough you really are. So America, they bit off a bit more than they could chew. Let's show you this one right here.
This satellite image just revealed what the Iranian drone did to the $1 billion U.S. radar at Al Udeid base in
$1 billion radar, and a cheap Iranian drone took it out. See? And this was their eyes. This was them able to see any missiles coming their way or whatever. Now they're blind. They needed that. I bet America is pissed, and Israel.
Qatar. The FPS-132 upgraded early warning radar is a massive long-range ballistic missile detection system with a claimed range of up to 5,000 kilometers. It's designed to spot targets all across the Gulf, but it was destroyed by a single Iranian Shahed drone that cost only a fraction of the radar's price.
So how's that war going? How's it going, Trump? Are you winning yet? We're gonna be winning. We're gonna make a lot of money, he said. How's it going, MAGA? So yeah, that's it on that. Let's read this. This is Joel chapter 2. And I'm going to start at 20. 2 and 20. It says, I will remove far off from you the northern army, right? Which is talking about the American army, right? So this is what the Lord is doing, right? He's strategically playing the world like chess. And this is all prophecy playing out. We got America going over there to the Middle East in droves, ready to fight this war, okay? And they're going to draft you. You people that are fit enough to be in the war, they're going to draft you, okay? It's also Bible prophecy. I'll get into that in another lesson because I got a lesson that I'm planning in the future dealing with that topic. I've got loads of clips to show you how they're pushing for that draft, which is also fulfilling biblical prophecy. But anyway, Joel 2 and 20, it says, but I will remove far off from you the northern army and will drive him into a land barren and desolate. And that's the Levant region, Middle East, which they call the Middle East, right? It says with his face toward the East Sea, right, which is the East Sea is the East Sea is the I want to say the Persian Gulf, and his hinder part toward the utmost sea, which is the Red Sea. I know that's the Red Sea, but I don't want to be wrong. I believe it's the Persian Gulf. So Joel 2. Just want to take 1 second. Joel 2 and 20. Yeah, it's the Persian Gulf. So that's basically saying that they're going to be out there in that Levant region where they're at now, which shows you that the Bible is undefeated. This wasn't a lucky guess, man. Okay, the Bible is true because the Lord spoke it, and if the Lord spoke it, if it's in His Word, it's going to happen. So it says, I will remove from you, far off from you, the northern army with the American army, and will drive him into a land barren and desolate, which is the Middle East, the Levant region. It says, with his face toward the East Sea, and his hinder part toward the utmost sea, and his stink shall come up. That's talking about the amount of carcasses there's gonna be, man. There's gonna be a slaughter. That's why I say, you know, if it's not a good time to be in the military, I'll tell you that. Because you ain't coming back. If you get drafted over there, expect your stink to come up. It says, and his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he have done great things. So, you know, the Lord is going to destroy the armies of, well, not just America, but there's going to be a bloodbath among the heathen in that area, man. It says, Joel 2:21, fear not, O land, be glad and rejoice. For the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushai will do great things. Right? I'm gonna leave that there. So, you know, ultimately this is a time for the elect to rejoice, because their redemption is drawing nigh, because the Lord is doing all this on behalf of the elect. You know, you could basically say that the world revolves around the elect right now, man. All these things happening is because the Lord is going to avenge us for all that these heathen have done to us, especially the so-called white man Esau Edom. Okay, the big payback is coming. Okay, and as a matter of fact, I got this clip right here, because, you know, America thought they could never be touched. Israel thought they could never be touched. They were so proud and puffed up, puffing at their enemies. They had that pompous attitude. And what does the scripture say? Pride cometh before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. And that's what's happening right now, right? The Lord is destroying them. Let me show you this. And I'm gonna have to mute this video, because it'll give me a copyright strike. But this is, you know, James Brown, The Big Payback, that song. But it's funny when you hear the actual song playing. But I'm gonna mute it and just show you what's happening in Israel right now. They don't want you to see this. Check this out. Look at that chaos over there. The big payback, right? Who feels sorry for them? You know, they were dancing with joy when little Palestinian children were getting slaughtered. Now look, which we ain't got no dog in that fight. We ain't for the Palestinians, okay? We're against everyone out in that region, man. We're against Iran. We're against Russia. We're against China. We're against Israel. We're against Palestine. We ain't for none of you, okay? Because you got to understand, this is the Lord that is doing this on our behalf, okay? It's time for you heathen to sit down where you belong, man. Sit down in the dust and confusion, right? So this is another video. It says Iran hits an Israeli bunker, right? Killing 20, I believe. Check this out. Now, the funny thing is, they were all in their bunkers dancing and having a good time and thinking SHIT was sweet. Oh, man. Pride cometh before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall, man. Okay? Never forget that. And Esau is the most proud, the Bible says. How you in a bunker and die from a missile? How does that happen? I thought that's the whole purpose of a bunker, is to keep you alive. See, these people trusted in that bunker. There's video clips of them dancing around, cheering and happy, having a damn party down there. And then boom, 20 dead, 200 injured. Beautiful times we live in, man.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, man. They ain't bouncing back from this. They ain't, you know, it's over. It's over for them. Now I'm gonna show you a quick clip of an Iranian missile hitting Israel, which, you know, it's just the sound of that explosion and stuff. and the clear footage of it. It just shows you the reality of the war, man, of this war that's going on, right? Because they ain't gonna show you this on mainstream media. Hold on, let's run that back. God dang! Look at that. That's a beautiful thing. That was a beautiful saga. Oh, the big payback. They really thought this day wasn't gonna come. You know, they underestimated Iran. Anyway, let's go back to the scriptures, right? I got a few more I want to bring out before I close this out. Lord willing, so far you're finding this lesson edifying, okay? Because this is the time that the Bible said would happen, right? Let's start at verse 9, Joel 3 and 9, right? It says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, which, the elect are doing. The elect are proclaiming that this war is coming. It says, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. So the Lord is gathering them into a specific location. The Lord is preparing them for war. All the people are preparing for war, or they have been. Now the war is taking place. But this is a time of war, right? Verse 10, Joel 3 and 10, it says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Now this is talking about it ain't time for agriculture, because a plowshare and a pruning hook is agricultural tools. This ain't the time for developing inventions and doing agriculture and things like that. No, this is a different time. Now the Lord is saying, turn that into swords and spears, meaning weapons. This is the time to be stockpiling weapons because you're in a time of war now. It says, let the weak say I am strong. And the weak countries are standing up against the big bad bully America, saying they're strong now, partly because they got Russia protecting them. The Bible says that Russia shall be a guard unto them. Not in those exact words, not verbatim, but, it's speaking about Russia being a guard unto these other nations, right? So the weak are saying they're strong. It says, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathens, because this day of the Lord that's coming is the day of the heathen, right? The Lord is getting ready to destroy the heathen, man, on our behalf. It says, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, gather yourselves together round about. So the Lord is gathering them in the Levant region, and it's going to explain that in just a second. It says, thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh. And the mighty ones, it's talking about the angels, the chariots, they're getting ready to come down, okay, and deliver the elect of Israel. It says, let the heathen be wakened, right? Get into gear, snap into action, basically, right? Because now it's time for you to get busy. It says, let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, which, is in the Hebrew is Yahweh Shaphat, which means the Most High's judgment. Okay, so this is the place of the Most High's judgment, because when the Lord is gathering them in this Levant region, which is the Middle East, to judge the heathen. Okay, because there's going to be a bloodbath in this war. It's gonna be a lot of soldiers dead, man. Their stink is gonna come up, just as we read. It says, "For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about." So all this death that's going to take place is of the Lord. You can't pray for this to go away. A Christian would do that because they don't have the understanding. The Lord is a perfect balance. He's bringing them to judge them there to judge them, man. It says, "Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe." Right? A sickle is a agricultural tool. The harvest, is the the end of the world. Now the harvest is ripe because this is the time of the Third World War, which is going to bring about the end of Esau's world. So it says, come get you down, for the press is full, the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great, because the Lord is This is the time for the Lord to take action because, you know, the wickedness of the world is absolutely great. We'll jump back to that. I want to show you a quick scripture in Isaiah chapter 42 and verse 13. It says, and Yahweh shall go forth as a mighty man. He shall stir up jealousy like a man of war, which the Lord is known as a man of war. In the book of Exodus, I believe it is. Forget the exact scripture. I believe it's like 13 and something. It says, he shall cry, yeah, roar. He shall prevail against his enemies. So the Lord is now getting ready to take action. You know, a lot of people saying all this wickedness going on. Where is the Lord? Hey, he's getting ready to roar. He's getting ready to take action, so to speak, right? So Isaiah 42 and 14, it says, I have long time holding my peace because all this wickedness going on in the world. And it seems like, you know, where's the Lord? How come he ain't intervening? You know, why is he letting all this happen? Well, he says it here, I have a long time holding my peace. I have been still and refrained myself. Now will I cry like a travailing woman. I will destroy and devour at once. Right? So let's jump back. And we're going to read, we're going to start at verse 13 again, Joel 3 and 13. It says, put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Now the time is ripe and ready for the Lord to bring that heat, bring that judgment, right? It says, come, get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. See, the wickedness is, you know, the sins of America has reached unto heaven, man. There's another scripture in the Bible that says that, right? So now the Lord is getting ready to take action. He's done with America, man. The time, you know, the time of Esau's rulership is at its end. So it says in verse 14, Joel 3 and 14, it says, multitudes in the valley of decision. The valley of decision is the valley of the Lord's judgment, man. Okay. And there's multitudes going to be there when the Lord does what he does. There's going to be and if you've been paying attention to the news, even on mainstream media, they're showing you that how they're moving all the armies over to that region, man. I got to wrap this up in a few minutes because I got to rush off to the plantation. I got to be there very soon. It says, but the day of Yahweh is near in the valley of decision. See, so that the troops ain't gonna be leaving that area until the return of the Lord. Okay. Let's jump to the book of Zephaniah 3 and 8. It says, therefore wait ye upon me, saith Yahweh, until the day that I rise up to the prey. So that's all we got to do is keep prophesying, you know, keep watch and be sober, pay attention to what's going on, bring out these prophecies, do the work as best as we can, pray, you know, keep the holy days, pray for this Emma Effa to go down, man. It says, for my determination is to gather the nations, which is what he's doing in the Levant region, the Middle East. My determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms to pour upon them mine indignation, meaning his righteous anger. It says, even all my fierce anger. I mean, righteous judgment, Salakia. Indignation means righteous judgment, because the judgment that's coming is a necessary evil, man. It's righteousness. There is no unrighteousness in the Lord, even when it seems, you know, to the people that don't have no understanding, they think the Lord is wicked for all the death and blood that he spills, you know. But, you know, he's righteous in his ways, man. It's a necessary evil. And his ways are far above your ways, right? And his thoughts above your thoughts, right? So the Lord's determination, this is what he's desiring to do, is to gather them in that region, the Levant region. It says to pour out mine indignation, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. So the Lord is getting ready to bring flames to this place, man, through thermonuclear missiles. Okay. Let's see if we've got any more clips I can play before. Oh yeah, Iran. Like I said, Iran is more clever than people had imagined, right? Well, especially America. And this is something they've never seen before. They got underground nuclear silos, man. Check this clip out. This is not AI. That you would have no clue that There was a missile silo there, man. This is how clever they are. America never even thought of this. Look at that. Straight from the sewer. Straight from the sewer. Nothing could save ya. Came from the underground, boy. You know? They probably try to drop a bunker bust on there to destroy whatever's under there, but you know, Iran probably already thought of that. You know, they've been preparing for to get America for a while. You can't forget that how they took out, what was it, General Soleimani or something, Soleimani, back what was it, in 2019 or 20, maybe even sooner, maybe 2018, something like that. And they took out General Soleimani or whatever his name was. Iranians were pissed and they vowed revenge against America for that. And they've been preparing for a while. That's why America, they say they ain't scared, they ready. That's it, boy. Now, you know, let's see what. All right, this is Proverbs 21:1. It says, "The king's heart is in the hand of Yahweh. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will." So the Lord is putting in the minds of these kings of the earth to prepare for war, you know, to strategically place themselves in that Levant region. All of this, because this is the determination of the Lord, is to gather them. So, you know, the king's heart, which your heart is your mind, la'ab, the Hebrew word la'ab, and it means the mind. Okay, so the king's mind is in the hand of Yahweh. You know, as the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. So he's the one that, you know, they wake up in the morning and think, I'm going to bomb Iran today. You know, the Lord put it in their mind to do that, to get it popping, to fulfill prophecy. So this is Proverbs 20:24. Man's goings are of the Lord, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai. It says, how can a man then understand his own way? See, you think you're making your own decisions. You're really making the decisions that the Lord wants you to make. He's playing this world like chess to bring them forth to the slaughter. Right? One more thing I want to show you. That was perfect timing. And then I'm about to bounce. Now you got Eve that's stuck over there in Dubai like a fool because she wanted to go over there and be a damn porta potty, probably. You know, I'm not saying that this woman in particular is, but that's what they be doing. Now, they're not paying attention to the times they're living in. And why would you want to go over to a region like that during this conflict? It shows that these people of the world have no wisdom. They're foolish. And now look at the state of her. Check this out.
Hey y'all, as you know, I'm the girl that decided to spend her 30th birthday in Dubai. And I'm coming on here very humbly, asking my president.
She said, I'm asking my president. That's my president, Trump. How could you say that? You're basically begging. You're kissing the ring and begging Trump, begging the US government for help. Woe unto them that go out down to Egypt for help, the Bible says, man. Look at her with the blonde hair. You know, she was living a good life for a minute. Now look, through. And no one feels sorry for you, man. You're looking like a fool, my president.
To just seize it. I'm an American taxpaying citizen.
Trump don't give a damn, okay? Trump is not about to drop everything to save you. He hates you.
And I've now been stuck over here.
Whose fault is that? Who shall
Since
pity?
the 24th.
Who shall pity the charmer that is bitten by a snake? You know, roughly paraphrasing, man.
I've been blessed to be able to buy 3 different flights from 3 different airlines, and they've all been canceled.
Yeah, because your money ain't gonna save you in these days we're in, man. You should have known better. Be out in that region during this time.
I don't know who this will reach.
It's falling on deaf ears. Ain't no one coming to save you, man. There's nothing they could do even if they wanted to save you.
I don't know if it'll reach anyone. But I am not the person who gets on here like this. But I am desperate to get home to my family. So I'm asking, I'm pleading, please just, whoever can help us, please just help. And it's not even about the financial part. We just don't have a way out. Every time we try, it gets canceled. So I'm putting myself out here on the internet as humble as I know how.
Yeah, the Lord has a way of humbling you proud women, man. And you ain't seen nothing yet. Nothing yet. And I got a lesson that I'm planning to drop tonight. I'm trying to you know, just clip it a little bit, edit it a little bit. And I got one that I'm working on about you Eves and how, you know, you're gonna realize that a man is a prize. Okay. So look out for that lesson coming up.
To just get some help. Thank you.
Boo-hoo. Right? I don't feel sorry for you because this is the reality of the war in that region. And you want to go over there during this time? Check this out.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Hold on. Oh my god! Hang on. Oh my god! Oh my god! Still going. Keep your seatbelt on. It's everywhere.
See? You really want to F around and find out. Why would you be in that region trying to, you know, trying to have your hot girl summer? It's foolish, man.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Hold on. Oh my god! Oh my god! Hang on. Oh my god! Oh my god! Still going. Keep your seatbelt on. It's everywhere.
I don't know if this is AI or not, but even if it was, it don't look like it looks real to me. But you know, with the AI technology, man, you never know. But either way, this is the reality of what's happening. Even if it is AI, this is really the type of things going down. So, you know, if you was wise, you wouldn't be in that region right now. So if you listen to what the scriptures say, which I'm gonna read it, close it out with this. It says, a prudent man, Proverbs 22:3, a prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. You know, you gotta watch and be sober. You gotta be sober minded. You gotta have your, you know, you gotta have your head screwed on in these days, man. You can't be out there in Dubai during a time like this. Because now look at you, stuck and through. Okay, and no one's coming to rescue you, Eve. And I hope you're still out there. Hey, Khan. Hey, Shalom. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Barakatah. Good to see you, bro. You know, the Lord is a man of war. That's it. So, Exodus, it was 15. I said it probably 13. The water for that. Yeah, I brought that out earlier. Exodus, well, I quoted it earlier. The Lord, Yahweh, is a man of war. Yahweh is his name. See? So he's the one playing these heathen like chess, putting them in that Levant region for that bloodbath. You know? Good precept. The water for that, Ark. Psalms 55:21. It says the words of his mouth were smoother than butter. Oh, let me pull it up. Psalms 55:21. It's GMS in his likeness. Subscribe and be edified, by the way, right? It says the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Softer than his word. Let me read that again. I watched that up. Psalms 55:21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. That's it, man. He speaks of there's going to be peace. America's going to come out victorious and all that. You know what he's talking about. Now, I don't have time to, I literally got to run off. I'm going to be late. I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care. We don't care. That's right, Eve. Porta potty heifers. That's it. You know? Missile food. Kinda. Yeah, man. What's that? Women crying around on occasion is hilarious. That's it. That's what we're talking about. No one feels sorry for you, Eves, man. You know? Because the thing is, Eve, man, like I got a lesson I'm about to release. Okay, I'm working on it now. But you women, you ain't going to humble down and get your head right until it's too late. And when this humbling comes that the Lord has prophesied to do to you women, we are not going to feel sorry for you, man, because we've been warning you for too long. You women that are among the congregation of the living, you're the only ones that matter right now. You women that are of the elect. But you women that don't want to listen, you're talking about you hate men and this and that. The world will be better without men. You're all jacked up on feminism. Well, you're going to F around and find out, man. And we can't wait for that day, okay? So anyway, I got to rush off, Salakia. And yeah, Khan, Shalom, bro. Yahweh Shem Yahushai Barakatah. Good to see you on my live, as always. And Barakatah to you and your Barakatam to you and your family, bro. All right, so I'm gonna leave it here, Lord willing. You were edified by this quick lesson. I'm gonna close it out. Give all honor, praise, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rachak, Wadash. Shalom. Shalom.